Your game, Killer Aces, 6v6 indoor volleyball game. I don't know anything about volleyball. I didn't even know volleyball was a professional sport like that.
Yeah.
Where did this idea come from?
Yeah. This idea came from kind of where all my ideas for sports games have come from, which is I like a sport. I enjoy playing a sport in real life. I like following professional versions of it when they exist, and they do for volleyball, not in America, or for women's they do.
Yep.
And not seeing it represented in games. When I made the hockey game, when I made Mini Hockey Champ, my first game, I was really disappointed with kind of the state of hockey games at the time. It was pretty much a one horse, show at the time. And I wasn't thrilled with how that gameplay worked. And I really missed old games. So I took a stab at it. Sunday Rivals was, there's one game out there for football, and I didn't enjoy the gameplay anymore. And I was like, what would I do differently? So I should make a game. Volleyball, there are no 6v6 volleyball. Like, you can count the amount of 6-on-6 volleyball games, you can probably count on one hand. The last one that came out was like years ago, and I don't even think it runs anymore. Like, if you go on the Steam page for it, like, people say it disconnects after, I think they had like an online thing that they killed. It disconnects and you can't even play the game. And then it gets into like these obscure games that you've probably never heard of, and then it turns into 16-bit. And so it's just like there's this huge delta of like, volleyball is a very popular sport worldwide. People in Europe and Asia, it's like incredibly popular. And in America, especially with girls and women's volleyball, it's very popular. And then I grew up in Los Angeles. So in California, volleyball is very popular, and there's boys volleyball, which doesn't really exist in a lot of states in this country. So it's weird. There's a lot of interest around it, and there's absolutely no game representation, like zero. It's crazy. There was a game that came out called Spike Air that is a 4-on-4 game that is really good. It's a great game, and I highly recommend it. But the game is different when it's 6-on-6. It's a different game. The speed is different. The spacing is different. And that was something I really wanted to have. Sorry, I'm going to talk about the game a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
If you probably haven't played volleyball games, but what volleyball games do wrong is they go slower than the game is. The real sport is played incredibly fast, especially at the highest levels. It's like blindingly fast. It's hard to track. And that's hard to play. It's really hard to play. A game like that, it requires like ridiculous reaction speed, and I'm old, so I don't do that very well myself either. So one of the things I wanted to try to solve with this game was, how can I keep the speed of the game, that I think people respond to, without making it unplayable for the majority of the public. And that's kind of the thing that I'm narrowing in on now, is like, so the trick is that if you control guys and run them around the screen, it's unplayable. So I let the computer control the players, and you basically control the phases of the game. So when it's time to pass or bump the ball, you pass it. When it's time to set, then you control the setter. It's time to hit, you control the spiker. And then those phases happen pretty quickly, but they because you're not running a guy around the screen, you have a moment to think and be strategic with it. And I think that makes the game really playable and really fun. And that's the thing I'm like nailing right now as we speak. I'm building the tutorial for the game right now. I've never done that before in any of my games. I've always made like a manual and just been like, obviously players read the manual before they're going to spend 20 minutes reading the manual, which is stupid. I posted this on Twitter the other day. I was like, I have an achievement in my first game where if you read the manual, you get an achievement. 34% of the players have that achievement,
which is to me that would be low. Like, that would be like, okay, like
yeah. So I'm building this tutorial in the game now, so it's like you will understand how to play the game immediately, and I'm trying to make it fun and really interactive, and maybe a little bit different than other tutorials are in other games, where it doesn't feel so like homework. It feels more like something you would my goal would be, it would be something you would want to come back and play again in the future. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of lofty thing to aim
No.
for, but I think that's kind of where I want to go with it.
Wow. You shared a lot in that. You shared the research. You shared the reason you're even making the game. Like, and I had to learn that approach. Like, I had to learn, how do people get these ideas? Because like, there's so many games I've came across where I'm just like, this is just, it feels unique. And then, like you said, you go back and you're like, oh, somebody did already make something like that.
Yeah.
Or you go back in movies and TV shows and other forms of media where you're like, that idea has been around. It's just how can I either evolve it, or how can I just put my unique spin or take on it?
Yeah. It's interesting because I released a video on my YouTube channel recently talking about why I wasn't working on a sequel to Sunday Arrivals. That seemed like the most obvious thing for me to do. There's a lot of things I left on the table with that game, and why not do that? And to me, it's just, I don't see the point in doing something unless I'm going to bring a level of innovation and just unique things to it that don't already exist. I like making things that don't exist, right? Like that's kind of where my interest lies. And to be clear, I can say that kind of stuff because I don't do this for a living. This is still a hobby type thing. It is a business, but it is ultimately what I do in my spare time. So I can say, crappy artistic stuff like, oh, I'm not going to work on something. I understand from a business standpoint, if this was the sole, round of income for me, I would probably think very differently about that. And something like a sequel would make more sense, at least to get comfortable to where I can have that kind of passion project on the side. I hope there's a version of being able to do both one day. But yeah, I just think I think that's a better way to approach games. Like you should make games that you're interested in. First of all, like you shouldn't just like, what's popular on Steam right now, I'm going to make a horror game or whatever it is. Like if you're not super passionate about horror games, like just don't make one. So yeah, you have to start there, but then I don't know, it helps to be really passionate about the thing you're making and want it to exist. I think that helps.
I mean, that's literally why I even, like when I started this podcast and just talking about video games and just sharing just my love of video games. But the more I got into it, I realized I like the art. I like the characters. I like the voice acting. Like I started getting under the level of like, I just love the way it's built. And like that is something that has always intrigued me is the art styles and the decision making they did. Like we decided to go with this crosshair instead of this crosshair. And like I started liking that more and more. And I was gonna literally ask you about your previous two titles of like, are they finished? Like, are they completed titles? And I feel like you kind of answered it. Like I felt like I couldn't put more innovative spin onto it, but like there's something to that though. Am I wrong to say like, no, this is done?
Yeah.
I'm now moving on.
If you enjoyed this conversation, the full video is on Spotify. So please just look up Malik Childish or the MC Show on Spotify and you will be able to listen to this whole episode. It will also be in the description, of course. And if you would like to see more content like this, go ahead and leave a like, go ahead and leave a subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.